The alien fleet fires first, assuming their overwhelming power will crush Earth's forces. But humanity's response is swift and brutal, revealing the true strength of their silent patience. The galaxy watches in stunned silence as Earth's counterattack lights up the stars, and the once confident aliens realize that they've made a deadly mistake. The vastness of space was silent, still, and cold. The alien fleet hovered above Earth's orbit, an imposing collection of warships, each larger than the next. The Council's orders were clear: fire first. Their arrogance had already decided their victory. They believed they had nothing to fear. Earth had been quiet for too long. Silence was weakness, and silence was their downfall. "Let's end this," the fleet commander said, voice flat, almost bored. "Fire at will." The first shot shattered the peace of space. A beam of unearthly power, bright and violent, shot forward. It pierced through Earth's atmosphere like a jagged spear, sending ripples across the planet's surface. The alien fleet's confidence was mirrored in that first shot, powerful, unrelenting, and sure to break Earth's defenses in an instant. But then, nothing happened. Earth's cities didn't collapse. The planet didn't retaliate. There was only silence, just the quiet hum of distant stars and the tension hanging thick in the air. The aliens waited. They expected the Earth to crack under their force, to send a desperate cry for mercy. They expected surrender. Instead, the human ships, which had been lying dormant in Earth's orbit, came to life. The silence was shattered by a single chilling message. "We've been waiting for this," it crackled over the communication channel. No sooner had the words left the speaker than Earth's counterattack erupted in all its fury. From every corner of Earth's orbit, sleek warships shot into the void, moving with a grace and power that none of the aliens had predicted. Their technology was alien, yet familiar, and it burned with a simple, brutal elegance. The first warship, dark and almost ghostly in its design, fired back. It unleashed a single shot, one that cut through the emptiness of space with the same deadly precision the aliens had assumed only they could command. The alien fleet's bravado faltered as their own energy shields flickered and cracked. For a moment, the only sound was the hum of the weapon system, pulsing, steady, ready to strike again. They thought it was mercy. It wasn't. A surge of energy washed over the battlefield, washing away the alien invaders' confidence. One by one, their ships began to falter. The blast that had initially seemed to herald Earth's destruction had instead triggered a series of catastrophic responses. Earth's technology, simple but ruthless in its design, tore through the alien fleet's defenses like paper. "There, on technology," one of the alien commanders whispered in disbelief. "It's primitive." Another alien officer, in disbelief, frantically began to reroute power. "Impossible. This isn't right." Their systems were too complex, too advanced to be beaten by something so basic. But the simplicity of Earth's technology, raw and aggressive, was precisely what made it so deadly. There was no elegance in its execution, no calculated precision, just pure, overwhelming force. Their ships weren't designed to be elegant. They were built for one purpose: destruction. As the first few alien ships were struck down, the rest began to react, falling into a panicked disarray. They hadn't planned for this. They had assumed their superiority was absolute. But now, in the face of humanity's retaliation, their hubris was their undoing. And then came the real shock. The alien fleet, once so sure of its overwhelming power, was now in retreat. The ships began to scatter as though they could escape the wrath of humanity's surprise counterstrike. But the Earth's warships were relentless. Their weapons lit up the dark expanse of space, each shot finding its target with horrifying accuracy. "No! Fall back! Get us out of here!" the alien fleet commander shouted, but it was too late. The damage had been done. Each ship that fell was a testament to the arrogance that had led them to this moment. The aliens had fired first, thinking they could erase humanity with a single blow. But Earth's counterattack had lit up the galaxy, and in that blinding light, the aliens realized just how deeply they had misjudged their prey. "We gave them mercy," the alien leader whispered to no one in particular, staring out at the remains of their fleet. "And now, we've paid for it." And that was before Earth even responded. The universe had never seen anything like it. The alien fleet, which had once stretched across the stars with unchallenged dominance, now lay in disarray. The first wave of Earth's counterattack had torn through their defenses like an unstoppable force. And now, in the cold vacuum of space, the remnants of their mighty ships scrambled to regain some semblance of control. But there was no escape. The alien fleet commander's hands trembled as he clutched the communication console. His ships had always been faster, more advanced. They had always been the ones who struck first, the ones who destroyed. But now, every effort to retreat was met with a deadly pursuit from the human warships. Earth's counterattack had shattered their plans, and now every move they made seemed to lead straight into the jaws of humanity's devastating wrath. "They've turned the tide," the commander muttered under his breath, watching the holographic display flicker and shift. The fleet's formations had collapsed. Ships were no longer moving in unison but were scattered, each one desperately trying to evade the next strike. "We didn't expect this." His second-in-command stood beside him, eyes wide with disbelief. "It's as if they've known everything we would do. They've anticipated our every move. They're cutting us down one by one." The commander clenched his fists. "No, they're not just anticipating us. They're reading us, predicting us." His voice was strained, filled with frustration and mounting fear. What kind of technology can do that? The answer, though unsaid, was clear. Earth's warships were no longer the insignificant primitive vessels the Council had dismissed them as. Their designs were brutal, raw and ruthless, but it wasn't just their ships or weapons, it was their people. Humanity's quiet, patient nature had made them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. And now, the galaxy would know what that truly meant. Across the expanse of space, the human warships pressed their advantage. Their movements were calculated, precise, and lethal. They closed in on the alien fleet with terrifying speed, each ship picking off its target with pinpoint accuracy. One by one, the alien ships fell, their massive forms torn apart by Earth's relentless onslaught. "Commander," a voice called out from the communications console. "Another ship's gone. They've disabled the reactor. It's going to explode." The commander's heart sank. They had lost another ship, and this time there was no escape. The explosion lit up the void like a dying star, and for a moment the alien fleet seemed to pause, stunned by the devastating loss. But there was no time for mourning. They had to act. "Retreat," the commander ordered, his voice steady but hollow. "Get the remaining ships out of here. We're going to regroup and find a way to retaliate." But even as he issued the command, he knew deep down that it was already too late. The humans had already proven themselves far more capable than they had ever imagined, and as Earth's warships closed in, the chances of survival grew slimmer by the second. Far across the galaxy, on a command deck far removed from the chaotic battle, the alien council watched in growing dread as the aftermath of the attack played out on their screens. The once powerful fleet, now nothing more than a fractured shell of its former self, was struggling to regroup. Their superior technology, their vast resources, had all been rendered useless by the sheer brutality of Earth's response. "We made a mistake," one of the council members said, his voice barely a whisper. "We underestimated them. We thought their silence was surrender. We thought they were weak." Another council member, her face twisted in disbelief, nodded. "We thought we had already won. We thought we could erase them with a single blow. But they—" She stopped, unable to find the right words. "They fought back." The head of the council, an ancient figure who had overseen the galaxy's conquests for centuries, clenched his fists. He had seen many battles, many wars, but this was different. Earth's resilience had caught them completely off guard. And now, in the face of humanity's wrath, they had no answers, no counter to the onslaught. They have no mercy, he muttered to himself, and they are relentless. The young technician who had been monitoring the battle looked up, his face pale. "We've lost contact with the fleet. We can't reach them. They're all either destroyed or in retreat." A heavy silence filled the room, thick with the weight of their failure. The once proud empire was crumbling before their eyes, and the worst part was that they had no one to blame but themselves. The alien council had been blinded by their arrogance, assuming that Earth's silence meant weakness. They had assumed they were in control, that their power was unrivaled. But now they were on the verge of annihilation, and no one could save them. Back in the heart of the battle, the human warships pressed on, undeterred by the chaos around them. They had fired first, but now Earth's response was nothing short of a reckoning. The once unstoppable alien fleet was now in full retreat, and Earth was closing in for the final strike. The commander of one of the human warships, a seasoned veteran who had witnessed countless battles, watched the alien ships scatter. His face remained calm, but inside his heart raced with the thrill of victory. Humanity had been underestimated. Their silence had been their strength. And now the galaxy would bear witness to Earth's vengeance. They thought it was mercy. It wasn't, he said softly to his crew, his voice filled with quiet satisfaction. Now we show them why they should have never fired first. With a final decisive move, the human warships launched their final barrage. The remaining alien ships were caught off guard once again, their defenses overwhelmed. The devastation was swift, brutal, and absolute. Earth had taken its revenge, and as the last of the alien fleet crumbled, the commander's voice echoed across the comms. "Victory," he said, "but this is only the beginning." The alien fleet was now a fractured shadow of its former glory. What had once been a well-coordinated, unstoppable force was now reduced to isolated pockets of resistance, each ship fighting for survival against the crushing might of Earth's warships. The battle had dragged on for hours, but for the alien fleet, it was only a matter of time before the end came. "We've lost contact with most of the fleet," the technician reported, his voice trembling. "The remaining ships are scattered. They're retreating as fast as they can." The leader of the alien council, an imposing figure draped in dark robes, clenched his fists in frustration. He had seen countless battles, yet nothing had ever felt as hopeless as this. The humans' retaliation was beyond anything he had anticipated. Their technology was crude compared to their own, yet it was proving to be more than enough to tear through their advanced defenses. "They must have hidden this power for years," the council leader muttered, his voice low, almost to himself. "They've been silent, biding their time, and now they strike with everything they have." The young technician, still visibly shaken, glanced nervously at the leader. We don't have much time. At this rate, we'll be wiped out within the hour." The council leader's face twisted in a grimace. "We're not done yet." He turned sharply toward his commanders, who had been watching the destruction unfold on the holographic screens. "Prepare the remaining ships. We will make our last stand." The alien council members exchanged looks of uncertainty, but the leader's voice was firm. "We've come too far to let these humans destroy everything we've built. We will fight until the last ship is gone." But deep down, the leader knew the truth. They had underestimated Earth's capacity for destruction, and now every last alien ship was a pawn in a game that had already been lost. Meanwhile, in the heart of the battle, Earth's warships continued their relentless pursuit. The alien fleet had been broken, its ships scattered and vulnerable, but there was no sign of slowing down. The human ships, sleek and menacing, moved with purpose, hunting down their prey one by one. "Lock onto the next target," Commander Davis barked from his station, his eyes scanning the battlefield. The enemy fleet was down to a handful of ships, but they weren't giving up without a fight. Still, every shot they fired seemed to miss, and their shields were growing weaker with every passing moment. The humans had anticipated their every move. "They thought they could crush us with a single strike," Davis muttered to himself, his voice filled with a mix of pride and disgust. "Now they'll learn what happens when you underestimate Earth." As his warship closed in on the final alien cruiser, Davis gave the order. "Fire at will!" A beam of energy shot from the ship's cannon, and within moments, the alien ship was reduced to nothing more than a cloud of debris. The rest of the fleet, now reduced to nothing but scraps, began to scatter. There was no coordinated retreat, no grand escape. The alien ships fled in panic, their once proud commanders scrambling to save what little remained of their forces. Davis watched the last of the alien ships disappear into the void. He didn't feel victorious. He felt the weight of what had just transpired. The alien fleet had fired first, and Earth had struck back with unparalleled force. But even in victory there was a bitter taste. "We've won," he said quietly to his crew, "but it's not over. They'll learn from this, and next time they won't be so careless." Back on the alien command ship, the council leader stared at the final reports pouring in from the remaining ships. Their numbers were dwindling. Every ship that fell was another blow to their pride, another step closer to complete annihilation. The leader's mind raced, his thoughts a whirl of desperation. There had to be a way out. There had to be a way to turn this around. But what? "Commander, we must retreat," the second-in-command said, his voice trembling. "We've lost too many ships. The humans are relentless. There's no point in throwing away more lives." The council leader's eyes flashed with fury. "We retreat now, and we've lost everything. We will be seen as weak, as failures. We've already made our stand. To retreat now would be to admit defeat." The second-in-command hesitated before speaking again. "But we're already defeated. The humans have proven that they're stronger. We've lost." For the first time, doubt flashed across the leader's face. His grip tightened on the control panel in front of him. This wasn't the way it was supposed to go. They had conquered countless worlds, wiped out entire civilizations. How could they, the great empire, fall to a species like this? They thought it was mercy. It wasn't, the council leader muttered bitterly. "We will fight until the last ship falls. Let them remember Earth's strength." But deep inside, the council leader knew that the galaxy had already seen humanity's power. They had been tested, and they had risen. The galaxy had thought they were nothing more than a silent, dormant species. But now they knew. Now humanity had made its presence felt, and it wasn't going away. The final moments of the battle unfolded like a brutal symphony. The alien ships, now outnumbered and outclassed, continued to flee, but there was no escaping Earth's warships. One by one, the remaining alien ships fell, their destruction marking the end of an era. As the last of the alien fleet disappeared into the cold void, a chilling silence settled over the battlefield, and as Earth's warships returned to their stations, Commander Davis looked out at the stars, his face grim. "They thought they could take us down in one strike. Now, they'll know better." The galaxy was silent. The alien fleet had been obliterated, reduced to dust in the vacuum of space. What had once been a powerful force, feared by countless species, was no more. Earth's warships, sleek and deadly, hovered above the wreckage, their guns cooling after hours of relentless battle. Commander Davis stood at the helm of the warship, his eyes fixed on the shattered remnants of the alien fleet. The mission was complete, but the victory tasted bittersweet. The destruction had been swift, overwhelming, but it wasn't about the battle anymore. Earth's retaliation had changed everything. He exhaled sharply, turning toward his crew. "We've won, but this is just the beginning. The galaxy won't forget this, and neither should we." On Earth, news of the victory spread quickly, but the implications of the battle were far-reaching. The quiet planet, once dismissed as insignificant, was now the most powerful force in the galaxy. The silence that had been mistaken for weakness had been the most lethal weapon of all. Earth had bided its time, watching, waiting, learning, and now the galaxy would have to reckon with the result of that patience. On the alien command ship, the Council was in chaos. The leader, once so confident in their empire's strength, now stood among the ruins of their ambitions. The fleet was gone, their power shattered. The leader's face, once stern and imposing, was now a mask of despair. Their pride had led to their downfall. "We were blind," the leader whispered, staring at the empty expanse of space. "We thought we could crush them, end them in one strike." One of the council members, his voice filled with regret, spoke. "We underestimated their strength. Their silence was their greatest weapon. We thought they were weak. Now we see the truth." The council leader slammed his fist against the console, fury and frustration boiling inside him. "It's too late for regrets. The humans have shown us that mercy is not a gift. They take what they want and they never forget. They won't be content until every corner of the galaxy knows their power." The remaining council members fell silent, each of them understanding the gravity of their failure. The era of the alien empire was over, and Earth, once an afterthought, had become the dominant force in the galaxy. Back on Earth, as humanity celebrated its victory, there was a heavy air of uncertainty. The war was over, but the battle for control was just beginning. Earth had proven its strength, but now the galaxy had to decide how it would respond. Would they accept Earth's rise to power, or would they challenge it? But for now, Earth was united. The human race, once scattered across the stars in their various nations and factions, was now one, unified in the face of the galaxy's new reality. Their silence had been their shield, but now their actions spoke louder than words ever could. Commander Davis stood on the bridge of his ship, gazing out at the stars. "The galaxy will never be the same," he muttered. "But we've proven our strength, and no one will ever forget that." The message was clear. Earth had risen from the shadows, and the galaxy would have to reckon with the force it had so foolishly underestimated. The silence was over, and now the galaxy would listen.